All right, what's up, guys? I'm going to go over basically the summary of my first week deadlift day. And this competition I'm doing has a max deadlift, no suit, just belt and straps because it's strongman, obviously. But don't really know what I'm looking for here in the competition. It's been a while since I maxed out, and I've had a couple of knee injuries since then, so not really sure where I'm at. I'd like to hit in the 600s though, so that's very loosely my goal. This week it's fairly light. Like I said, it's the first week, so we're ramping up. I'm doing around 4 sets of 5. It's 4 sets of 5 with 375. So like I said, starting really light. These move really well. As you can see here, this set flies. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time for my lift recordings because they're terrible. I try to make sure no one's in the background as best as possible and positioning my camera so it's not in the way. I'm not really prioritizing having the best angles here, just to be a little more courteous in the gym. But anyways, here's another set. Pretty easy. I have straps on. For 5 reps, I probably need straps for this. My deadlift grip is pretty bad, but I try to keep the bar in my hand as much as possible with the straps on so that I'm using a little bit of grip, trying to use the straps as least as possible while having them on. But I still like to train with them on because I'm using them in competition, and there's no reason not to train. In your lead up to the competition, there's no reason not to train as specific as you can to the event. And so if I'm using straps, I'm going to use straps. Right now I'm using regular, just figure of 6 straps, just with the wraps around the wrist. It just has the one string coming off the wrap around the bar. Probably 4 weeks out, I'll switch to figure 8s just because the positioning is a little bit different. I can set up a little higher and really get the bar down into this part of my hand instead of up inside the palm. Maybe it's cheating, but I'm going to I'm going to do whatever I can and get away with whatever I can because I know other people are going to be doing the same thing. So I'm going to take as much advantage of the figure 8 straps to increase my arm length as I can. But right now I'm using the figure 6 because it is just that half-inch shorter arm length, half-inch shorter, and so it makes it a little more difficult. So while it's lighter, going to make it just a little more difficult on myself and then get a little more specific closer to the competition. But 375 went really well. I expected it to. This went a lot better than I would have thought, so happy about that. Next I moved on to box jumps, and I've been dealing with this knee injury in my right leg for almost 2 years now. I think it's at the point of what it's going to be, just managing the issues I'm having with it as best as possible and knowing I'm going to have ups and downs and it's going to be sore some days. Come to terms with the fact that it's not going to get better, but I can go over that later. Box jumps is one of those things that I have to be careful with, and I'm not careful in the sense that I'm going to hurt my knee again doing it, but if I am just doing the box jump without thinking, I will start favoring the other side, and that's long-term. Favoring one side is a problem, maybe lead to some overuse injuries, or just wearing down one side more so it becomes more prone to injury in the future. Plus it's just I'm working on my explosion with box jumps, and so when I'm doing an overhead press, when I'm doing log lift, axle, any of that where I need to be explosive, I need both legs. And if I'm practicing that, that's what I'm doing here. I need to make sure I'm focusing on using 2 legs. Let's see. Got some pulling accessories, nothing too exciting, some rows, pull downs, Romanian deadlifts. So I've found that Romanian deadlifts, when I'm pushing the weight on those and treating it like a secondary exercise instead of an accessory, the main deadlift is my main focus for the day, and then having accessories to support that. When I treat the Romanians like one tier higher than accessory, it seems to help out with my max deadlift strength. So I've tried a couple different couple different approaches to accessories where I'm just getting them done. I'm putting my effort into the main lift. Accessories is keeping it a lower intensity, lower difficulty, and not killing myself on the accessories, but getting the work done and pushing myself, but not making the last couple reps of every set of all my accessories a grind. And I do like that approach. Maybe lifting it, making the reps more of a bodybuilding style lift instead of just trying to throw the weight. With Romanians, if I followed that approach, I would be doing less weight. And with Romanians, the approach that, especially when I'm doing a max deadlift, the approach that I found that works best for me at this point is pushing the weight a little higher, making it like a secondary lift for the day. And so I think here I did 3 sets of 8 with 385. It's either 365 or 385. But as you can see, it's around the same weight I did for regular deadlifts. They're easier, lower range of motion, starting at the top. But you can see that I'm really pushing the weight here. I think when I've hit my deadlift max, like my all-time PR, I think I was doing around 3 sets of 5 with 435. 3 sets of 8 with 385 is maybe a little bit below that level, but I do like to push the weight on these. And at the end of my deadlift day, I do cardio. I do some high intensity interval training with the Aerodyne bike. Aerodyne, not entirely sure what it's called, but I call it an Aerodyne bike, and I know that's not the right name. But with the big fan and the handles, and the bike with the handles. So if I go all out on these, I am wrecked for days. I treat it like everyone is an all-out sprint. Plus, it'll drain me for the next 3 or 4 days, probably affect the rest of my lifting week. And so I try to have a set goal for RPMs during the sprints and pushing myself to stay above it, and always making sure that's either the same or higher than the previous week, so that I'm improving, but I'm not just jumping straight into a full-on sprint. At some point, that RPM is going to raise to the point that it is a full sprint, but I'm building up to that so that I'm not killing myself and I'm adapting. If I was 20, I could get away with just jumping in and doing those sprints. But I know, not that I'm old, but now that I'm older, early 30s, that I can't pull that off. And that's going to take a month maybe to ramp up to the point of doing that. So it's my deadlift day, week 1. We got a lot to go. Hoping to hit 600 at this competition. It'll also be in competition. I don't know. I don't think it's the first event. So if I can hit a PR in a competition and it's not the first event, I think that would be ideal. And what I'm planning, what my goal is at this point. But all right, see you tomorrow with my pressing day.